This is the Solid Signal Podcast for the week of August 7th, 2017, and welcome to August. Wow, years just flying by. And the subject for this week's podcast occurred to me over the weekend when I was reading that NBC is considering bringing back 30 Rock because they've already renewed Will and Grace's reboot for another 2 seasons, even though it hasn't aired. And let me tell you, I'm as much a fan of retro TV as anyone else, probably more. I was glad to see reboots like Fuller House and One Day at a Time come to Netflix, and I think there's an important niche there because comfort food TV is really hard to do in today's environment. And one way to really kind of open the doors to comfort food TV is to frame it in such a way that it's a remake of something else. The rules for today's complex dramas don't really apply if what you're doing is trying to capture the feeling that you got on a Friday night in the 80s watching ABC. My point here is that rebooting these series isn't such a bad thing. However, when we get to the point of talking about rebooting 30 Rock, which, if I recall correctly, went off the air 3 years ago, I just don't think it's been down for long enough, and it reeks of desperation. I hate to say it. 30 Rock was a great show, and I've recently taken to watching a few of the old episodes because it is, of course, the summer slump and there isn't a whole lot to watch otherwise. But does it need to be rebooted now? Or is that just a cop-out, a way to make sure that NBC's got a built-in ratings base instead of trying to build something for the future? What I'm trying to say here is the reason that NBC is in the situation that it is in and has been in for the last 5 to 7 years is that it did not adequately plan for the future way back in the 1990s when it was super hot. You know, you can place the blame wherever you want, but the truth is that NBC spent an awful lot of money on Friends and ER back in the 90s instead of spending that money on developing new programming. Instead, they gave us kind of warmed over, tepid stuff that just never took off. And by the time that ER, Friends, Seinfeld, Cosby, all that went off the air, they didn't have anything to replace it. And let me tell you, if what you're still serving up is warmed over reboots of previous content, no matter how good it is, it's not going to be a good, stable foundation for a future success. And I believe that NBC does want to succeed in the future, that all broadcast networks want to succeed in the future, and that they're desperately throwing balls at any target they can find to try to see what sticks, because no one out there really knows what is going to save these networks, which have lost roughly 90% of their market share in the last 35 years. And we need these broadcast networks, and we need over-the-air television. It's important. It's an important way to connect with our community. It's an important way to enjoy kind of shared feelings that we really need, and that has never been more clear than with the cathartic experience so many people enjoyed with This Is Us. Broadcast television and the limitations that it has are important. The very fact that you can't put nudity and violence and all that stuff on broadcast TV provides an opportunity for these media outlets to create excellent television that does not require pandering to graphic violence and nudity. And I have no objection to graphic and violence and nudity in and of themselves, but they're an easy way to get an audience. And network television could work harder than that. Network television has the opportunity to reach more and more people than anything else, to reverse its downward spiral, and to truly emerge as the dominant form of entertainment in the future. Just because the internet is here doesn't mean that broadcast entertainment must die, and the only thing that will kill it at this point is a persistent effort to look toward the past and not the future. Yes, I'm getting a little bit riled up here, folks, but this is how I feel. I'm passionate about it, and I hope you are too. That's about all the time I've got, however, so have yourself a great week. Leave a bunch of comments if you think I'm right.